in the instructions on the celebration of Passion, it says that, it reads that after the reading of the Passion, then the priest will address a homily, a short homily. And I will try my level best not to be more than an hour. We are already in the mood of passion and death of Christ. That in the morning with the Station of Cross that prepared us for this moment. The silence, therefore, is more appropriate for the occasion. As we heard in the first reading, even the kings will shut their mouth. Let us begin then by noting that differently from what is commonly believed, the Passion should not be taken or lived as an occasion of mourning or of sadness. We are not mourners. We did not gather here as a bereaved family, so we are not a bereaved family here. We are people of God. We are not orphans. We are people of God who have gathered to celebrate. The word celebration implies some level of a joyful activity. We apply this to this event of Passion of Christ, his suffering and death. So we are celebrating, not mourning. The question then is, why do we celebrate the death of Christ? Of course, we are celebrating the death, and to our understanding, humanly speaking, our experience, death, though is an unavoidable reality, it is also an unwanted. We don't like to die, as humanly speaking. Nobody would say, I want to die. We are always driven from the inside by will to live. So it's a nature for us to desire to remain in life, living. And not only that desire to continue living is a desire at the individual level, but we also wish others not to die. For this reason, a death of any of our acquainted, of relative or friend, leaves us saddened, leaves us in pain. But here we are celebrating. Doesn't seem this a contradiction? To celebrate an innocent man nailed on a cross. Is there a way of avoiding or overcoming this contradiction? I want to believe there is. we need to take and understand the death of Christ as nothing more but the lesson of love. If we look at the death of Christ in the perspective of love, we be able to overcome the feeling of contradiction implied in death of Christ and celebration. Now, in any other session of learning, because if it's a lesson, then we're here to learn. So whenever we are to learn, if you want to be successful in that learning, then we need to listen and listen in silence. We need to engage ourselves in meditation and contemplation, as if we are in recollection, in order for us to capture the supreme love of God and allow it to enter our hearts. For this reason, it is a day whereby we suspend all kinds of entertainments. Good Friday, leisure activities that would deviate us from attention towards this love mystery. When we contemplate the cross, then with these eyes of love, we can see three things. The first one is that as any death is stopping of heart beating, stopping of working of kidneys, stopping working of blood stream circulation, stopping working of brain, of any sensations. So all those will cease to operate, which is scary. It is scary because this death contradicts our will to live, as I mentioned before. The second thing we may explore and understand or derive from the death of Christ is that it is the death which has a meaning beyond the physical death of stopping heart beating and stop breathing. It is a death that comes as a result of life-giving for the salvation of humanity. So Jesus gave his life for our salvation. He gave his life for us to have life. It is a death that was willed. Differently from that death, we are scared of. This death was willed. Jesus willed. His Father willed in the beginning. He was not caught unaware in an accident or crime, ambushed. No, it was not. It's something that he was conscious of from the beginning. God planned from the beginning, his Father. He planned that this is what has to happen. It is a voluntary death that the theologians call kenosis. theologians, some are here, so they will say if I'm wrong, they'll tell me outside, not here. Or self-emptying. So in dying on the cross, Jesus became the bridge, the high priest, connected through this death. Jesus connects us with his Father. Comes and preach what is spoken in the first reading, in the second reading. He became the one who is capable of sympathizing with us in all our sufferings, because he, in every respect, has been tested as we are, though without sin. So in dying on the cross, Jesus is offering a service to humanity. Then, seeing death of Christ on the cross like this, then we begin to derive some meaning. He has become bridge leading us to God our Father. He is also teaching us a lesson of not only living our lives egoistically to ourselves alone, but we must live also for others. Jesus lived his life and died for others. It's a lesson for us that our life must be lived not only for ourselves in an egoistic way, but for others. Finally, we contemplate death of Jesus hung on a cross. So this is not an accident, it's not an ambush, just it was a plan that he would die and be hung on the cross. Perhaps we need to reflect also in this point. The cross can symbolize the heights. So it was not down here below, but it was hung in a height. So God wanted us to look above and not below. He wants us to lift, he wanted to lift us up and also to point our desires to things of above. So our desires must be of the things that are above, not things that are below. So we must always desire things of heaven, as St. Paul would say, and not things of earth. And in fact, when Mass is celebrated, the priest says, lift up your hearts. So we shall not allow our hearts to be too heavy. If it's too heavy, we tend to go down. We allow our hearts to be light, so that even when the priest says, lift up your hearts, we can easily say, we lift them up to the Lord. Sometimes we just say we lift up to the Lord, but they are heavy, and they are pointing down. They are not going up there, no. That's what we must always do. We must always do and constantly desire what is up, because as we look up Christ who is bruised, we shut our mouth, we look up to him. So, dear brothers and sisters, we celebrate the passion and death of Christ. This is the maximum expression of love, the sacrifice offered once and for all. Whenever Mass is celebrated, this mystery is remembered, and this event is actualized, as we also heard from yesterday, even the preaching. So, we had to do this in the memory of me. This event we are celebrating today is the event that we need always to actualize every day of our life. So let us adore then the cross of the Lord and experience his love for all of us and draw from it the driving force of faith for us to be able to also love God, lift up our hearts to him, and love one another.